Okay, this is part two because of technical difficulties. Couldn't fit it on one video. So I'm going to start with how the fraud was discovered, and we'll go from there. So the first thing that happened was that there was a tip that Frank Walsh had earned $20 million on the acquisition of the CIT group. The board members did not know about this, so they decided to launch an investigation to see if any other members or employees were receiving compensation like Frank Walsh had. When they launched this investigation, they found many other expense abuses. And then Kozlowski resigned due to getting charged with evading over $1 million in sales tax. And then the New York State Bank Department discovered large amounts of money being transferred in to Kozlowski's personal accounts. The results from this fraud were devastating to the company. Kozlowski and Schwartz were indicted on stealing over $170 million from Tyco. Kozlowski was accused of taking $242 million from a program that was supposed to help companies buy stock. And he was also accused of granting over $106 million through loan forgiveness programs, and Mark Belnick was accused of falsifying these documents to conceal over $14 million in loans. Frank Walsh had to repay the $20 million, and the president of Tyco Fire and Security Division was accused of creating a number of bookkeeping issues that affected the company's earnings. Also, the auditor who signed off on the audit was fired. Many investors lost millions due to the stock price plummeting from $60 at one point all the way down to $18 in a short amount of time. Tyco had about 260,000 employees, and many of these employees were shareholders who lost most of their savings due to the stock price falling. The auditing firm at the time was PricewaterhouseCoopers. Richard Scalzo was the lead auditor on this auditing team, and he has since been barred from this practice by SEC due to engaging in improper conduct. The main case surrounding Scalzo was he did not follow proper auditing steps on how the loans and large commissions were not disclosed on the financial statements. Three of the most noticeable items he did not perform further audit procedures were on the executive benefits, compensation, and related party transaction. The reason why the risk was so high for these were because all of these loans and compensation were given to people within the company. When risk is high, an auditor should take a larger sample of transaction, and in the case of Tyco, with these things being so high amount, they should probably take a look at almost all of these related party transactions. Our book states that any large or unusual checks payable to directors, officers, and employees should be carefully reviewed by the auditors to determine whether the transactions were properly authorized and recorded and are adequately disclosed in the financial statements. Proper auditing steps could have limited the fraud and brought to light what was going on inside of Tyco. The aftermath was that they brought in an outsider named Edward Breen to turn it around the company. His focus was on corporate governance and changing the culture of the company. He also focused on ethical standards to turn this company around. Tyco can be looked at as a positive when looking at what to do after a huge fraud is committed. Through efforts of cleaning up ethical conduct and focusing on corporate governance, Tyco was able to rebound and eventually save the reputation of the company. At the time, Tyco was just one company engaging in fraud along with many others, as many people know. This is a perfect example of when you give too much power to an executive of what can happen. When too much power is given, fraud is created. Are there any questions? No, because I'm talking to a wall, but thank you.